welcome to 3 Count Commentaries. This is your host, MongoSlade. And since Raw was once again dreadful, we're going to have to talk about the whole show. Because there was no real storylines throughout the night. Not much was really developed throughout this show. Which is absolutely dreadful. This was a dreadful show. Because nothing happens. 3 hours, nothing happens. It is... In some ways, most of this show, especially most of the first hour and a half, was basically last week. It pretty much just did the same thing in the same places that they did last week. Charlotte had a promo in almost the exact same time she had one last week. So did The Miz. It featured a lot of the same content, all of the same players. It is absolutely, it's shit, man. Like, see, wrestling is theater, but it's not literally theater, you know? Like, when we say it's theater, it means it's live performance. Literal theater is you go to see Macbeth. It should be the same show every time you go. That's not how WWE should be. You should not go to Raw and it's the same Raw as last week. That's just dumb as hell, okay? All right, so let's talk about this show because it is dumb as hell. So McIntyre comes out. He makes some jokes because, of course, he has to make jokes. And he says something to the effect of, talking about their stupid masks, and that I'm going to get some retribution on you. And I'm just kind of like, whatever, man. And he blames MVP for this, of course. MVP comes out to his theme song, which I forgot existed. I'm bowling, straight up bowling. I forgot all about that damn song. He comes out and says that Lashley decided to downsize the Hurt Business. And that they're not expanding. T-Bar and Mace ain't got nothing to do with the Hurt Business. Of course, Drew McIntyre's not trying to hear this. He don't want to hear that. They're not affiliates. He don't want to hear that. So he decides, okay, well, I'm going to come down here. We're going to see what's up. So he gets out of the ring because, you know, Drew McIntyre was talking in the middle of the ring. And he gets attacked by T-Bar and Mace. And T-Bar and Mace beat him up a little bit. Then they walk up the ramp. In doing so, they walked past MVP. Did not acknowledge MVP at all. This was the only time we saw MVP all night. And we didn't see Lashley at all. So there was no Lashley on this show. And MVP was in one segment. Now, normally, if they had done something that I felt was interesting, I would be okay with that. You know what I'm saying? Because I've been sitting here talking about they need to swap people in and out. And they kind of was like, okay, we'll send Lashley home. We'll give MVP one segment. That's it. All right, cool. But what else they did with the rest of this show was basically the same shit they did last week. So I'm cool Lashley got a night off. I'm cool MVP didn't have to do that much. But then we get into T-Bar and Mace cutting the promos. I can't hear shit that they're saying. They're like, and they're like saying like animal names or something. But these stupid masks is in the way. I can't hear shit that they're saying. Their mouths are covered. I can't hear shit that they're saying. And next thing I know, they're talking about saber-toothed tigers. And saber-toothed tigers are extinct. And that's what's going to happen to Drew McIntyre. I'm like, what the fuck? What are you talking about? Like, this was the opportunity to explain what's going on. Or at least give us something cryptic. They give us these dudes talking about dinosaurs and birds. What the fuck are they talking about? Why are they talking if they have nothing to say? They were better off just being two silent dudes who just, we still don't know why they're doing it. And we still don't know why they're doing it. But them talking was dumb as shit. It was real dumb. So then McIntyre is doing what he usually does. He storms down the hall. Oi, I'm pissed. I didn't talk to you. And then he demands to fight T-Bar and Mace. And of course, they're going to fight T-Bar and Mace 2-on-1 because he don't want any partners. So he wants to go and fight T-Bar and Mace. Adam Pearce's like, no, you have to have a partner. He's like, I don't want no partner. I want no friends. I want to fight these guys. I want to fight them. And then Adam Pearce, of course, gives him what he wants. Because if there is something you haven't missed on this show that you would crave it. You would be really angry if it didn't happen on this show. It would be the almost weekly Drew McIntyre handicap match. So then Drew McIntyre wrestled T-Bar and Mace in a handicap match. A match that went way too long and ended disqualification because T-Bar and Mace refused to tag in and out and just beat him up. Of course, you shit on T-Bar and Mace because two guys should almost, especially two guys their size, should always beat one. These dudes are professional fighters. At least that's what we're being told. It shouldn't take two of them to beat one, especially with their size. And then if you were going to do a disqualification, why not do it 60 seconds in, 2 minutes in? Why did they go like 6 or 7 minutes? He went like almost 10 minutes. And then here comes Braun Strowman, right? Braun Strowman comes out to make the save. No explanation there as to why that happens, but it's a babyface thing to do. Braun Strowman is a babyface. Okay, I'll accept it. Then, of course, we get impromptu tag team match, which then goes, another 6 or 7 minutes and ends in disqualification. And I was just kind of, and look, the only thing that saved this from being absolute shit is that they snatched off the masks for T-Bar and Mace. So, McIntyre in the match snatches off Mace's mask. And, they're just looking at him. Like, he's looking at the mask and he's looking at Mace. And Mace is jawing at him. And then Mace smacks him. Just smacked him like he won shit. Just smacked him. So then McIntyre hits Mace with the mask. And then he beats Mace with the mask. And then after like the 4th or 5th time he hit him with the mask, then the ref will call for disqualification. I would think that you hit a guy one time with, I'm assuming, some type of plastic or maybe even metallic object. It's a disqualification. So the first time he hit him, it wasn't a disqualification. The second time he hit him wasn't disqualification. Third time, and you're pushing it. Fourth time, okay, now we've gone too far. This is stupid. This is dumb. Okay, so Drew gets disqualified. And Braun beats up T-Bar, snatches his mask off too. So now T-Bar and Mace are unmasked. Now, are they going to continue being T-Bar and Mace? That's the question. Also, we need to figure out why they attacked Drew McIntyre. We also have to figure out why Braun Strowman is out there. So there is some questions that might be, some things that have potential here. They're trying something different with T-Bar and Mace. Instead of having them lose their masks in some apuestas matches, which is a bet match in Mexico, they're going to have them, they just had them get their masks snatched off, revealing their faces. And everyone's like, oh, so that's what they look like. I'm like, come on. They were on TV last year. Now, that being said, people who are, I think the questions of people who are, look, I'm on the fence about this. And this is the crazy thing. Because there are obviously people who are quote unquote smart fans. And they Google everything. So as soon as somebody comes on TV, they Google them, right? But there's a lot of other people who are watching this show who, likely don't remember Donovan Dijakovic because they don't watch NXT. They likely don't remember Dio Madden at all because he was on TV over a year ago when he got slammed through that table by Brock Lesnar. That was back when there was crowds. That was a long time ago. Most people just can kind of forget it even happened. So I can understand that people might forget who they are. All right. So I try to take myself when they do these kinds of things, they take masks off people, and it's people that I already know because I've seen them before. We don't have the memory of birds. And I was just talking about this when it comes to Commander Aziz, and the Royal Nigerian Guard. But the thing is, I don't want to be the asshole because like when Kane was walking around in his mask, there was a lot of people who knew it was Isaac Yankem and I didn't know. There was a lot of people who knew he was the fake Diesel and I didn't know. So that would be like, and these people who want the announce teams to basically talk about Donovan Dijakovic and Dio Madden, that would be like when Kane was unmasked in 2003 and somebody yelling about, it's Isaac Yankem. Oh my God, it's Diesel. It was Diesel the whole time. Where's the real Kane? We know this guy's not Kane because this guy was Unabomb in Smoky Mountain Wrestling because, smart people know that, So like you have to play the game a little bit. It's like we all know Spider-Man can't really shoot webs out of his wrist. Like, that's not real. Like, we know that, right? So when we sit down and we watch the movies or we watch the cartoons, play the video games or whatever, we have to accept that Spider-Man can shoot webs out of his wrist and swing around town. You know, we can't be like, it's obviously that can't happen. That's not real, obviously. Or how can people be so stupid and not know Superman when he walks around without a mask on? You know, and like, does him putting on glasses really alter his face that much? That's actually a much better. That's a much better metaphor for what's going on here. It's Superman with the glasses on. But so that's the situation that we're in. You know, people want these guys recognized. It's not like they did anything. So that's like the crazy thing. It's not like you put a WWE champion in a mask and then pretended that you didn't know who he was. These guys were nobodies. Dio Madden did commentary for Raw for a couple of weeks. It's not like the guy was like a prominent champion or anything. People barely know who the fuck he is. Who cares? You know, Donovan Dijakovic didn't even do anything in NXT. Who cares if they don't acknowledge acknowledge that guy? But at the same time, I do realize that it's annoying. That, you know, they're playing to the lower denominator. You know, the lower denominator is the people who don't care about this kind of stuff and they're just kind of like shocked, like, oh, that's who these guys are. I think Dio Madden actually had like a goatee or a beard or something back then. He doesn't have it now. Anyway, so I'm on the fence about, I like the idea of them taking those masks off. I like that. I don't like how we did it though. It took way too much time. You know, you could have done, as stupid as all this shit was, this Braun Strowman, Drew McIntyre tag team shit, as stupid as that shit was, you could have done that in a far shorter amount of time and left time to do other things. If you know the match is going to end in disqualification, why does it need to be 8 minutes or 9 minutes? Just get in there and get out. You know, get in there and do because why would you get people invested? Because that's really what you do when you give people large amounts of time, is you get people invested and then they see disqualification. They're like, come on, man, what the fuck? You know, they get taken out of it immediately. And then you do back-to-back matches. Like, that doesn't make any sense. You know, the impromptu match, that also doesn't make any fucking sense. It doesn't help your case. That's stupid. You could at least say, okay, well, they got away from me this time, but I'll get them next week. You know? That would have made more sense. Like, okay, you know, it had Strowman come in. Like, match could have been 4 minutes. They get this, or 3 minutes. They get disqualified because, you know, they're ruthless bastards who don't care about the rules. They beat, you know, Drew McIntyre almost to death. Drew comes out there, bumps one of them or something. The other one flees. They get the hell out of there. Then they set up the tag team match next week. Right? Give us something to look forward to next week. Let T-Bar and Mace actually get over this week. And then next week you could have snatched their masks off in a short match. Maybe even the first match of the show. And then you could have started telling that story or whatever the hell you want to do with that. But you spent so much time on this garbage. It is absolutely abysmal how much time. The efficiency problem that they have on Raw. This is a problem of efficiency. Efficiency, you know, is, do you get bang for your buck, right? Is the surprise or the intrigue that comes out of a segment worth the time you put in it? In these segments on Raw, the answer is almost always no. And that's why the show sucks. There is no efficiency. You can get stuff done in a shorter amount of time. You don't need to spend 10 minutes on this. Okay? But the first match on the show, Shelton Benjamin and Cedric Alexander lose to the Viking Raiders. The exact same match in the exact same spot as they were last week. I hate that Shelton Benjamin and Cedric Alexander nothing. They didn't even get to talk about what happened last week. It's not like they said, oh, you know, we lost last week. You know, we got that get back this week. They didn't attack them from behind. They was just in the ring. Just same, almost the exact same. They were already in the ring, just like they were already in the ring last week. Viking Raiders got to make their big entrance, and then they beat them. So it is what it is. So then we get Randy Orton. Randy Orton promises that we'll never see The Fiend again, which of course means we'll be seeing The Fiend, a lot more of them. Then he says he's going to be waiting for the victor of Drew and Lashley because he's going to get back to the WWE title, which is where he should be in the first place. And then we get Riddle come riding through. And Riddle comes in and he starts motor mouthing Randy. And he talked about he doesn't know what an apex predator is. And he wants to tag team with Randy and call him RK Bro. And Randy just walks off like he's salty. So he just wanders off as Riddle drives everybody nuts. So he goes to Adam Pearce and he's like, the disrespect. And he's talking about not knowing who Riddle is. He's like the kid, the blonde kid. He doesn't wear shoes. He's riding around on a scooter. I don't know who he is. I don't care who he is. I just want to fight him. And Adam Pearce, of course, because he only gives Drew McIntyre exactly what he wants when exactly he wants it, said he'll think about it, which is dumb. Just give him the fucking match. Come on, man. Or you could just schedule the fucking match, you know. Then they have the match. Riddle versus Randy Orton. It was the second match on the show. The match was great. This was good. I enjoyed the hell out of this. I enjoyed the sleeper spots where you see Riddle mixing in his MMA influence. Like this whole goofy bird shit, scooter shit, they are really making him pay his dues. They are really making Riddle pay his dues, man. Because that stuff is goofy. Right? It's goofy. But he still has the in-ring prowess. For instance, when he fired up on Randy and his strikes and Randy was, doing the Undertaker, had his guard up, kind of rolling back and forth into the corner, and Riddle was just coming after him with strikes and just it was good shit. It was good fiery babyface stuff. But I was talking about the rear naked part when he hooked the arm. Like Randy was reaching for the ropes and Riddle hooked the arm with his foot. That shit was sweet, And then Randy did his typical thing, tried to wear him down with chin locks and suplexed him on the announce table. And Riddle wins with the crucifix. So Riddle gets a huge win. And I was like, oh, all right. I like this. I enjoyed this. This was good. Now we see that Riddle lost the title. And in back-to-back weeks, he's wrestled Lashley, which he got destroyed in. And he beat Randy Orton. So now, is it possible that we could see Randy Orton and Riddle in a program? It would be nice if that was the case. I kind of want to see what Riddle got here. And I think that everybody kind of likes, except for the people who think he's a rapist. Which is absolutely stupid if you actually looked at the case. You would have to, I don't want to get too deep into it, but in order to believe that Matt Riddle is a rapist, this is what you have to believe. You have to believe that a car full of people, some of whom were asleep, one of them was a driver who was still wide awake. He was wide awake, he had to drive. And that Riddle was so bold that he raped a girl in the back seat of a car with a bunch of other people in it. It had to be the most quiet rape ever in order for that to be real. All right? That's all I'm going to say. And that's based off the court documents. That's what she said happened. So, whatever. It would have to be the most quiet rape of all time. So, I don't know what to tell you. But other than the people who think he's a rapist, because they obviously are just, they don't follow the case. They just follow the headlines. Then, most people seem to like him as an in-ring worker. They think they like his work rate, which is fine. I think that his personality, obviously they make him look stupid with all the birds and the original bro and and all that kind of stuff. That's not helping him, but that's just part of getting humiliated sometimes and doing silly shit. It's part of the process in WWE, and I don't understand it. Like I said, sometimes he's trying to be like Kurt Angle. And that was kind of it when you had Kurt Angle with the cowboy hats and all that type of stuff. You have to be able to show that you can do more than one thing. But you would think that with Riddle's advanced age, with him being 35 or 36 already, you kind of want to just stop playing these games. Like, he doesn't have like 15 years for you to fuck around with, Like he just doesn't. You know, he's probably got 7 or 8 at most. You should really put the gas on it. But whatever. This was a good match. It was a good segment. I want to see more of what they do. And I'm interested in that. So Charlotte comes out at almost the exact same part in time that she came out before. And she talks about, oh, she just wanted respect. She then called the female division rats and said that they were being fake to one another. And that she's the biggest star in the division. And you know, all of these fake women have never had anything taken from them. Where she had a WrestleMania match and it was taken from her. And that, you know, now she knows that she always respected Asuka as an in-ring performer, but that she doesn't really like Asuka. So Asuka comes out. She didn't get to talk because Rhea Ripley came out next. And then Rhea Ripley basically just says, oh, yeah, you know, all this stuff. And then Asuka's going to beat you. And Charlotte's like, oh, you must have just got a pen and paper and take notes because I'm going to show you how to, you know, how to be a star and all that. And then Asuka tries to talk, and Charlotte talks over her about beating her at WrestleMania, and she tries to talk again, and Charlotte keeps talking over her, and then Asuka finally gets out, calls Charlotte a bitch in a most hilarious way with that crazy accent, biatch. And everybody, I was like, this went on entirely too long. This took up too much time and it's cliche. We don't need Charlotte to do a stand-in monologue every week. They already had the match announced for Asuka and Charlotte. You could have done a backstage promo where Charlotte basically says most of this stuff. And right before she goes to the ring. And then you have Asuka call her a bitch. Right before she goes to the ring. And then they go to the fucking ring. Or they do something else. But this didn't need to be as long as it was. But Charlotte gets a lot of time because of who she is. So the main event of the show was Asuka versus Charlotte Flair. And the match, for starters, let's talk about Charlotte. Because Charlotte looks different again. She's seemingly thinner than before. But her gear is noticeably different. She doesn't have the Ric Flair robes anymore. They've changed her robes to a more sleek look. It's very clean. You know, I like it. I like that they've changed how she looks. Like as far as her presentation, let's put it like that. Her presentation is better, not better, different. Okay, let's put it like that. Her presentation is different. Her approach to this character is also very different. She's almost devolving. Where she's in this match, you know, she lost the match because Rhea Ripley interfered and she was clearly about to win. But Rhea Ripley pulled her arms during the figure 8. She lost. She lost to a crucifix. I mean, that was the match. That was the move of the night, dog. You hit a crucifix, you were basically going to win. Especially on SmackDown, there was another one, crucifix. You had Otis lose to a crucifix. I mean, you lose to a crucifix, you're a star. That's like the new Stone Cold Stunner. Anyway, after she gets beat, she goes Ken Shamrock on these referees, and she just started beating the dog shit out of this ref. And she's kicking this ref, and she's forearming him in the back of the head, and all the other refs are like, come on, what are you doing? Stop it. Stop this right now. What are you doing? And the guys are on commentary like, oh my, Charlotte Flair, the queen. She's really getting down and dirty. Or some shit. I'm like, what the fuck is going on here? And I'm like, why is she like lava? And the referees cannot touch her. Like, grab her. Like, add some excitement to this shit. Like, it's one thing to have the invisible wall. It's another thing when you have referees standing right next to her and is scared to touch her. Like, they're just watching her basically beat this guy to death. You know, like, these referees sometimes need to be a little bit more active to make it seem like it's a real fight and it's a real situation. Like, there needs to be a referee who needs to get in there and separate her from this so she can fight him too. That adds more intensity to the scene. If one of the referees is like, get out of here, stop it, and she just like, you know, refusing, she just keep pounding on this guy, and the other ref just jumps in and separates her, kind of like Herb Dean in UFC or something like that. He just kind of grabs her and takes her off this, she can shove him down too. She can kick his ass too. Like, show some intensity here, add some fire, or my favorite thing, send a babyface out there to stop her. Like, you got a bunch of male referees. Okay, maybe you say, oh, the male referees, they're a little bit skittish about grabbing a woman. Then you send a babyface woman out there to stop this. Something. Asuka could have came back out and said, like, you want to be the referee? Or whatever. And that kind of thing. Just to stop this. Just to get her attention so the other referees can, assist this fallen ref and help them out the ring. But you can't just have people just doing stuff like this for prolonged periods of time. And that's really what bothered me, is how long they let it go on. Right? Like, I get it. Like, at some point when out of control things happen, I get it, and it's out of control. It's like, whoa. But if nobody's attempting to get it back in control, then you're like, it feels like it's just part of the show. I'll give you an example. There was a clip of a Waffle House fight, right? And it was like 45 seconds of just people throwing down. It's people in the Waffle House throwing. It's men fighting women, women fighting men. People getting launched into windows. It's absolutely insane. And, there's people in there who are just sitting down eating. They're just sitting down like, oh, look at these people. They're over here killing each other. It's like mobs of people fighting just 2-3 feet away. And you're sitting down cutting your goddamn pancakes and not paying no attention. Until the people are virtually on top of you fighting. Like, nobody tries to do anything. Everybody just kind of get the hell out of the way. It kind of feels like you're condoning what's happening. Like in like early in the fight, there was people trying to stop it. That's how it got into a big schmoz. Is that, a couple of people, 2 or 3 people are about to fight. And then it turns into 5, 6, 7 people fighting. Because 2 or 3 people tried to stop it, and it just kind of grew from there. It's like a fire. And that's how, intense moments should be. It should be like you add in oxygen to a burning fire, where your interference makes it blow up even more. Like, maybe if you didn't interfere, it'll stop. But because you did interfere, it went wild. And that's kind of what you want. So it had to be like the referees, where maybe Charlotte, boom, hits the referee, she kind of loses it. She hits him 1, 2, 3 times. Then the other ref, she just gets in, and that pisses her off even more. Like, that's really, you could have added something to this segment by doing that. But of course, I'm asking for too much. So then we get so the next segment, Sheamus. So Sheamus gets a congratulations from Adam Pearce. And then Adam Pearce starts talking about, maybe you should consider doing an open challenge. Maybe, I know you want to be a great champion. You should think about all the past champions, all the champions in the past, and the legacy of the United States Championship. And Sheamus like, I don't care about the legacy. Oi, I don't care about no legacy. Nothing happened before me and nothing matter. So then he did kind of think about it for a moment. And he was like, alright, I'll do your championship challenge, but it'd be non-title. And Adam Pearce was like, whatever. And then later in the show, we get Sheamus does an open challenge. He comes out. He's talking about being the United States champion. He'll be United States champion as long as he wants to. And he decides to give an open challenge. And he did kind of say, well, I want to do this every week. But he says, if I feel like it. Like he's still a heel. This is a babyface thing to do, to have open challenges every week. He's like, if I feel like it, I'll do it every week. But he starts the open challenge, and we get Humberto Carrillo. Finally, a fresh face on this goddamn show. So Humberto comes out. He's jacked. Humberto looks great. He hasn't been on main event bullshit, and he's been getting himself together. Humberto comes out. He's sleek. He's muscular. He's got a nice little beard now. He looks like an adult man and not a little boy. And he gets beaten. He gets throttled. He gets thrashed. He gets mollywopped. He gets stomped. He gets pounded. He gets busted. He gets jacked up by Sheamus. Sheamus beats this kid unmercifully for what seems like several minutes. And again, nobody did anything. Again, nobody did anything. So the match never got started. Obviously, we're going to plant the seed for the actual match maybe to be next week. But we got to see Humberto. He got to do some selling, because Bruce has always said that he doesn't want to see how good you can perform a move. Bruce is looking to see how you sell. How can you sell a beating? That's what Bruce is looking at. Because Bruce has said this numerous times on various podcasts, and wrestling fans, despite the fact they listen to Bruce's podcasts, at least a lot of them do, they still think that you can show people doing high value super de-do moonsaults, and that all of a sudden that means you should be in the main event of WrestleMania. When it's like, no, they're looking at your other intangibles, your other skills. Like, okay, you can execute this move, but can you sell? So that's really what the point of this was. I didn't look at it like Humberto was getting buried. Even though he might not win the title, he may just get this one match, get kicked in the face, and that's it. But, this is an opportunity, for people, especially for a guy who has not been on TV since October. The dweebs online told me it's been October. So I think that's really what it has been. The people who follow on Cage Match or whatever. Like, this is his first match in yada many days. So I think they said it was October was his last match. So he had an opportunity. It was like 2 or 3 minutes of just getting throttled and thrashed and pounded and jacked up and shredded and torn and ripped by Sheamus. And he got to sell. And that was his opportunity today. His opportunity was to sell this beating. And I think he did a good job. I think he did okay, right? He didn't die. I would have liked to see a little bit more fire, but then again, maybe that's what they told him not. Maybe they told him not to, and that's really what I wanted. I really kind of wanted him to get beaten down for sure, and then to see something in him where there's a gleam, like in the silhouette. That's some of the best like artistic choices that you could have is when it's dark and something like it's like shadow, and you can still see like the gleam in the eye, maybe the blue eye, the green eye, sometimes even the red eye, and you can see that gleam. That fire is not dead. They're waiting for that opportunity. They're waiting to strike. That's kind of what I was looking for here, and I don't think I saw it because this scene was mostly about Sheamus. So Sheamus beats up Humberto Carrillo, tips his hat. He's a good fella. And that was pretty much it. But I like this because it's different. I like it because it's different. They were using different players. Sheamus doesn't really want to do the open challenge. He wants the legacy of the United States title. He doesn't really want to do the open challenge. He doesn't really care about that. But he'll do it as long as he gets to jump you from behind and beat your ass. Then that's the fun part. It's not because then there's no match. He just beats you up. Which is perfect for Sheamus because he's a bully. Right? So it works out for him just fine. He beats your ass, and that's pretty much it. All right, so let's go to the next segment. You got Lana and Naomi defeating Shayna Bazer and Nia Jax because Mandy Rose and Dana Brooke came out in the middle of the match and played a tape of them slapping and pushing around Nia Jax. Nia Jax is offended, leaves Shayna Bazer behind to go up the ramp. She walked very calmly. She didn't storm off or anything. She walked very calmly up the ramp, and they were gone, leaving Bazer by herself to get beat. And I just was like, what the fuck is all of this? What is all of this? These are all the same players that we have all the time. I don't get this. I can't even say where's Peyton Royce anymore because she got fired. Where's Nikki Cross? All right. Like, we know where Lacey Evans is. Where is Nikki Cross? Where is literally anybody else? We've been playing this game with Lana and Naomi and Mandy Rose and Dana Brooke. We've been playing this game for months. It's almost like WrestleMania did not happen because nothing changed. The same people that were wrestling in February are the same people that are wrestling now. Why? Because they don't want to import new talent. They don't want to use new talent. It's the same fucking people over and over and over and over and over again. With different, whether, sometimes it might be a chocolate drizzle this time. It might be a sprinkle of confectionery, what they might call sprinkles, in another time. And this new sprinkle is that apparently now Dana Brooke and Mandy Rose are the heels. Why do I think they're the heels? Well, because after the match, you get Dana Brooke and Mandy Rose calling Nia Jax and Shayna Bazer the bullies. And said, they was basically just making fun of us, talking about, hey, yes, I fell at WrestleMania. But they just kept playing it over and over and over again. And then Nia Jax comes out there, and like cowardly heels, they run away. And Nia Jax is like, you better run away. And then Shayna Bazer comes in, and she gives Nia the riot act and tells her to get her head in the game or else. To which Nia Jax responds, or else what? Like, I will beat your ass too. Which, of course, is their relationship. And I was just sitting here like, this is all so stupid. This is all so stupid. Like, you come out there to show a video clip in the middle of the match. All this type of stuff where they do shit in the middle of the match is so pro wrestling. But it's also completely unnecessary. You could have done this same exact segment without wasting everybody's time, without giving hanging another goddamn loss on Shayna Bazer and the tag team titles. These tag team titles have got to have more losses than wins at this point. They got to. I don't think Shayna Bazer has lost more matches than when she became a champion on this main roster. I just don't believe it. I just don't understand it. Like, this kind of thing does not make sense. It's the dumbest shit in the world to book the champions to constantly be arguing and constantly be fighting each other and constantly fighting the same people and then usually beating them. But now you have the baby faces who apparently are turning heel because one of them slipped and fell and she got made fun of for slipping and falling, even though it's been edited out of the network because they did some re-edits of WrestleMania 37 to re-edit out the 40-minute rain delay, which makes perfect sense. But then they also edited out Mandy Rose falling on the ramp. So if you're going to edit out that she fell on the ramp, why are we still talking about it? You edited it out. Why can't somebody just mention that? Why can't they be like, well, man, they edited the damn thing out of the, this was before they edited it out. I get that. But now they didn't turn it into a storyline. She slipped and fell one time and now this storyline has to continue. I don't get this. Now, I am all for a Mandy Rose, Dana Brooke heel turn. That might actually be something different. If it turns into something different. But there is no reason to see it becoming anything different. So, whatever. But then, if you think that wasn't enough of a head scratcher, Angel Garza comes out and he comes out and he says, ask her, Nia Jax, what did she see in Reginald, the circus act? What did you see in that circus act, Reginald? And I just said, we're about to watch Angel Garza wrestle Reginald. I'm okay with this. I like both of those guys. But why does it have to be over Nia Jax? Why does Angel Garza want to bang Nia Jax? Isn't this like the third or fourth time he's been in a situation where he's trying to bang Nia Jax? And each time they've kind of given up on it. Like, he's given her like various roses, and I think that was like his original crush. And then they started talking about doing the Eva Marie thing. They were supposed to be bringing her back, and then that got squashed. And I think that was that before the Thunderdome? I think, but this has been going on for so long with this Angel Garza thing. In any event, I was glad to see Angel Garza doing something, even though it was just to show up and deliver a question. But it gets him on TV, he got an opportunity to do something. You know, Nia Jax looked at him like he pissed in her pea soup. But I mean, it was an opportunity, I guess. He had to do something. And now he's going to get to do something with Reginald. Now, Reginald has been out because he's been sick. I don't know if he's got the Rona or not. But he's been down for a while. And I'm guessing they're building up for his return, which is a good thing. He's going to be wrestling men now in the division that he should be in, which is the Cruiserweight division. I'm guessing, since there is no Cruiserweight division on Raw, I can't really say that. But this is at least new. It's at least different. Now, the Garza Jax thing is not new. That's probably going to be their remix of Eddie Guerrero and China, which is the shits. It's the shits. And I'm just sitting here thinking about it. Like, every time they try to do this, they try to do it with Beth Phoenix and Santino. They were funny, but it was the shits. You know, Glamorella was that Glamorella? Yeah, Glamorella. It was funny, but it was the shits. Every time they tried to remix China and Eddie Guerrero, it has not worked. And I see them trying to do it again with Nia Jax and Angel Garza. I will accept it just to get Angel Garza on TV. I'll accept it just for that, but I'm not looking forward to it. I'm not looking forward to any love angles involving Nia Jax. But if it'll get Angel Garza on TV, if it'll get Reginald on TV, it'll give me something new to look at on this fucking show, I will accept it. I will take the L and I will accept it. Okay? It also needs to break up Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler. Now, hopefully that's what happens. Hopefully that's where we're going. As soon as they lose, they need to kill each other in a cage match or something, and then one of them goes away. That's what we need. Okay, so where was I? Okay, so we got Miz TV, because you gotta have a Miz TV segment, even though he really didn't have a storyline to further. John Morrison was not present. It was just him and Maurice talking about their stupid fucking show, and they kissed. There was pyro for them kissing. I like Maurice, but come on. Maybe, well, you know what? I cannot complain about that. There should be pyro every time Maurice comes out there. Maurice is hot, The Miz, boy. Guy's an overachiever. I mean, come on. Hot wife. 2-time WWE champion. Main event in WrestleMania. Everybody hates his guts. Guy's great. He's overachiever. Anyway, he really doesn't have anything to say. It's just a waste of time. And he's talking about, it's WWE 24 The Miz. Them talking about his career. I'm like, okay, well, that's interesting. At least you could have did that in a short segment. This, of course, leads Damian Priest to come out because apparently WrestleMania is never the end. It's barely the beginning. And then they wrestled last week, for Christ's sake. Then he talked about, The Miz is delusional and Miz won last week because Maurice cheated. But after he stripped Miz naked, then he knows that, hey, he doesn't have any cojones. And challenged him to a match, which Maurice ended up accepting on his behalf. So then they have the match later on with Damian Priest winning with Hit the Lights. And Maurice tried to cheat, and it didn't quite work out. So this is fine. Hopefully this is over. Like, Damian Priest has been mixed up with The Miz since January. Can you, like sit down and think about that for a minute? Damian Priest has been on this main roster for almost 5 months. Almost 5 months. It's been since January, right? It's almost May. Probably got 2 or 3 more weeks before May. He's been mixed up with this guy since January. Come on, bro. And look, this is this not their first one-on-one match, I don't believe. But the match at WrestleMania should have been the blow-off. We should have been moving on from this. But for some reason, this is continuing. This is holding up. This is really holding Damian Priest back. Damian Priest should be the guy fighting Sheamus. Miz should be doing something else. He shouldn't be hosting Miz TV. It's a waste of fucking time. He's got no storyline to further. His storyline was with Bad Bunny. Bad Bunny is gone. So unless he's going to start a new one, why is he hosting Miz TV taking up so much of our time? And this goes back to what I was talking about when it comes to efficiency. What does these segments with the amount of time that you gave them, what comes out of them? What came out of this Miz TV segment? We learned one thing. He's got a WWE 24, and that's it. He's still calling himself the same must-see. He's talking about his wife as usual, talk about his TV show as usual. Then Damian Priest came out there, talked about, Miz cheated last week, and then said he has no balls. But we didn't get anything out of this. All the time we wasted, we didn't get anything genuinely valuable out of that segment. And then this match was the match. You could have booked this. You could have booked this match without this segment, because we already know they have heat. So you didn't need this segment. You could have gave this segment this time to somebody else. It's inefficient. It's stupid. Waste of time. So then we get the New Day, and Xavier Woods is now playing the bass. And Kofi Kingston lost a clean match to Elias, which is really, really weird. I mean, egats. Yikes. But Xavier Woods playing the bass is cool. I tweeted at him that he needs to get Thundercat on Raw. He needs to get Thundercat on Raw. If you're gonna bring a bass out there, you need to get Thundercat on Raw. Thundercat is an amazing bass player. His music is awesome. Google him. Since you're already on YouTube, go to the little box search bar, put in Thundercat Tokyo, or was it Tokyo? Put in Thundercat. Oh shit, it's the X. There's some other stuff that he's done. Maybe if I take a minute or two to really look at my playlist. But Thundercat is good shit. If he's going to be playing the bass on Raw, he needs to get Thundercat. New Day losing, who cares? Kofi Kingston shouldn't be losing to Elias, but I'm not going to complain about it. I mean, at the end of the day, who gives a shit? New Day has run its course, and now they can't do anything new. They need to reinvent themselves, but they can't. They're stuck in what was made them the most popular. We talked about this with Jericho. Whatever you did that was the most popular, you're encased in amber. WWE will not let you change it. They're New Day forever now. Like, they need to do something different. And because New Day ran its course even before Kofi won the title. People were kind of sick of him. But now that since Kofi's won the title and Big E's off doing his own thing, people are kind of like, when it comes to New Day. Got to do something different. And I'm not saying they need to feud with each other. I'm saying they need to do something. They have to do something. Because this is not working. And them just adding a bass, and it's the same guy who plays the bass as plays the trombone. It's cool. I love the bass. I really didn't get to hear it that much, It was okay from what I did hear. But, we need to do something different with the New Day. These guys still being the same, laughing and singing and, unicorn trampoline, them talking with Riddle and being silly with Riddle. It's like, man, nah. You got to do something. You got to put some edge on this shit somewhere, dog. They got as much edge as Spoon right now. And it's not fun. All right, so the last thing for me to talk about is Alexa Bliss. Alexa Bliss and her friend Lily. So we get a bedtime story about Alexa Bliss and Lily, talking about they've been friends a long time. And they show some pictures. Legitimate pictures of Alexa Bliss as a little girl with Lily photoshopped into the pictures. It was very well done. I like that. Then we start talking about how Alexa Bliss wanted to eat some kid's ice cream. This little anecdote where she says, I always wanted a bite of her ice cream cone. And the girl said no. So I pushed her off the swings and broke her arm. And then, when the teacher says, why did you do that? She says, Lily made me do it. And she talks to Lily now. Like, I'll get to the point. Yes, I'll understand. And I'm like, oh, okay, so it's head now. Al Snow in head, Alexa Bliss and Lily. Lily is going to be this demon doll that's talking to her. And, then she says that, Lily didn't like him, meaning the Fiend. And Lily also does not like all the women on the Raw roster. Raw roster. Wow, roster. What the fuck is going on in my brain? All right, so Alexa Bliss being very divisive once again. I get it. I get that people are weirded out by Alexa Bliss. They don't seem to understand it. They don't seem to like it. I don't mind. I think that when we're doing, I don't know if we're doing imaginary friends or we're doing it like Ted, where it's going to be like a talking, like, Ted, the talking teddy bear. Like if it was going in like that direction, where it's like always been her best friend and stuff like that, which is basically what she says. I get it. I get it from that perspective. We're going in the Ted direction. But I have to ask her, are we going Ted or are we going Chucky? Or are we going Al Snow and Head? Because it seemed like there was a mixture of Al Snow and Head, but also maybe a mixture of Ted. Or maybe they're going to be doing fun stuff together, like eating ice cream together or something like that. All right, that could be fun. It could also be very creepy. I like the Photoshop pictures. I thought that was a nice touch. Alexa Bliss is doing really good in this role. It's keeping her outside of the ring. But this should also give people the idea that you don't need to be in the ring all the time. I see people constantly complaining about the matches being too long. I say that too sometimes. I say it about cold matches that nobody cares about. Especially in a match where it's going to end in disqualification. Why does it need to be so long? Of course, you can't be stupid, right? You can't turn to wrestling to see people doing things that are not wrestling. Again, that's like, turning to the NFL and, oh my God, I can't believe they're playing football. It's like, fuck, they're wrestling. This is wrestling. Of course, there's going to be some wrestling on wrestling. It's stupid as shit to think otherwise. But you can do more outside of the ring. You can have shorter matches and more of them, just shorter. You can have 12 matches on Raw if they're like 4 minutes apiece. And there's nothing wrong with having a 4-minute fight. But, how did I get on that? Okay, talk about Lily. The doll is ugly, it's ragged, it's disgusting looking, which means it's perfect for the role. I like the Photoshop pictures. I said that already. I just want to see where it goes. Like, where are we going with it next? We're talking about Lily basically being this voice in Alexa Bliss's head. And since she has always been mostly a heel in WWE, it makes sense that we're going to go that route. That this character, this Lily, has always been there, always been influencing her. So, okay, we're going to see where it goes. But Raw was dreadful again. Now, this week I did listen to Adnan Virk. I did listen to his commentary. He made a lot of verbal flubs. He did botch, I think, the finish to the Viking Raiders match. I think he didn't know the name of their finish or whatever. But, he's new. This is his second night on the job, Get a guy some time. I know a lot of wrestling fans are savaging him because he didn't know anything about wrestling. And that's just something that, the dirt sheets put out there. Nobody fucking knows how much experience this guy's got doing wrestling shows or whatever the fuck. Who knows? Who cares? Anyway, WWE commentary is not about calling moves. that's the crazy thing. Like, Excalibur does that dumb shit, right? He wants to call the Juji Katami and talk about who was the PWG Tag Team Champions in 2017. Like, nobody gives a fuck. I like Virk just because he's clueless. That might be not so bad, actually. Because that would give him like real reactions. Like, what is this abnormal shit that I'm looking at? That would give him a real reaction for him to not be familiar with the product. To be like, oh shit, there's a demon chick with a rag doll. What the hell? It's banana. It's pandemonium. But he's not good. But it's the second night on the job. Give him some more time. He'll either get it or it's sink or swim. That's always been my thing. Sink or swim, goddammit. If you took the job, he got the job. Vince is apparently sitting there trying to help him. The guy has some experience calling baseball. He's got to learn their style. Maybe they should have put him on main event or something first, or they should have put him on 205 Live or something first before they brought him over to Raw, but they wanted a fresh voice for Raw. Unfortunately, Todd Phillips is gone. That sucks. I like Todd Phillips, or Tom Phillips. But we stuck with Adnan Virk. So, you got to get used to Adnan Virk. Sometimes people just hate him because he's new. Some people hate, blowing out of proportion every little thing that he does. And I think if we want to, judge announcers by fuck-ups, there's a lot of people who shouldn't be on commentary. So there's a lot of people who shouldn't be making YouTube channels, shouldn't be running podcasts. There's a lot of people who are out here fucking up, myself included. I'm not about to jump all over Virk for his second day on the job. I'm not about to do it. If he gets particularly bad, like Michael Cole bad, then maybe. But right now he's just another voice in the box. He's not bad enough for me to complain about yet. And the only reason I complain about Michael Cole is because he's got so much time. He was there in 1998, right? So for him to be botching and fucking up is absolutely abysmal. And then he's the lead announcer. He's the A announcer. He's hiring the other announcers. He's the ones who's, moving guys around. He's the one taking Tom Phillips out of the seat. What the fuck are you talking about? Tom Phillips is not bad. He's bland as shit, but he's not bad. To be quite honest, they're all second to my boy Vic Joseph. Vic Joseph is actually good. Now, he's no Mauro Ranallo. Mauro brought a unique energy to NXT that I think is missing now. But, nah, I'm not going to bury Adnan Virk. All right, man, that's Raw for April the 19th, 2021. Thank you guys for listening. Go into the description. Follow me on Twitter. Send me money via Cash App or Subscribestar, however is your favorite. Like, share, and subscribe. And I'll talk to you guys later, man. Peace out.